You ever watch your whole neighborhood go dark in the middle of a storm, then realize you were the reason it came back online? Yeah, that was me. But let's rewind a bit, because before I became the guy holding the power switch, I was just trying to be left alone. I moved to this quiet, tucked-away community after burning out in the tech world. Built a little garden, threw up some solar panels, and did my best to stay off the radar. Most folks around here didn't even know my name, and I liked it that way. What they also didn't know was that I own a tower 12 miles east. Yep, that tower. The one feeding emergency services, school bus GPS, and half the neighborhood's high-speed internet. It wasn't owned by the city. Wasn't some telecom. It was mine. Privately licensed, legally protected, federally contracted. But of course, there's always someone who can't mind their business. In our case, that someone was Beverly Stokes, head of the HOA, self-proclaimed protector of community aesthetics, and the type of person who thinks wind chimes are a public menace. She lived 2 houses down and treated the HOA charter like it was the U.S. Constitution. Her latest obsession? A small black relay dish I had on my roof, no bigger than a dinner plate, nestled between the solar panels. Barely visible unless you squinted from her second-floor window with a pair of binoculars, which, apparently, she did. Every Saturday. Like clockwork. She once left a handwritten note in my mailbox, no envelope, just a folded sheet of paper that read, "Your roof resembles a launch pad. Kindly conform." I laughed it off. Thought it was just harmless Karen energy. I should have known better. Then came the storm. It rolled in slow but heavy, like a freight train made of clouds. I'd already battened down the hatches, sump pump ready, battery backups primed, surge protectors on everything. Even brewed coffee early in case the power flickered. I was halfway into fixing a loose drawer when the alert popped up. Network interruption. I blinked. My system never goes down. Not unless. I checked the internal logs. No errors. No overheating. Just a full signal loss. Which meant someone had messed with the hardware. I grabbed my rain jacket, bolted outside, and promptly face-planted into the flower bed. There it was, a fiber optic line, flopping around like a decapitated snake. And taped right next to it, a neon orange HOA violation notice. Reason: unauthorized equipment, visual noncompliance. No warning, no notice, just snip. I wasn't just angry, I was stunned. Because cutting my line wasn't like knocking out someone's Netflix. They hadn't just taken out my house, they'd disabled emergency telemetry to the local fire station, the police precinct, even the hospital. I checked my backup tower feed. Sure enough, 2 of the municipal nodes had gone completely dark. My heart dropped. People could actually get hurt because Beverly decided to play HOA cop with a pair of hedge clippers. Then the call started. First came Brian, the fire captain. Our dispatch mapping just went dead. You okay? Then Lieutenant Harris from the precinct. Dude, where's the feed? Finally, a quiet call from Dr. Rao at County General, asking if the failover telemetry could be restored before nightfall. I told them all the same thing. I'm on it, but the HOA pulled the plug. And that's when I stopped playing nice. See, I never told the neighborhood about the tower. Never bragged about it. Never mentioned it in HOA meetings. Never flexed the fact that I could reroute signal with a tap on my phone. But now it was time. I filed an incident report with the city, attached footage from a neighbor's Ring cam, clear as day. Beverly, in her floral raincoat, tiptoeing through my garden and snipping the cable like she was defusing a bomb. She even had the nerve to stick her violation notice on the box like a participation ribbon. I sent that footage, plus diagnostics and system logs, to my old contact Anna Cano in infrastructure security over at Homeland. Her reply? We'll take it from here. By noon, the storm hit full tilt, roads flooded, power flickered, and Beverly made her move. She posted on the community app, all smug. Unauthorized rooftop device has been disabled for noncompliance. Internet restoration in progress. Thank you for your patience. I stared at that post with the kind of silence that comes right before a thunderclap. She had no clue what she'd done. She thought she was dealing with a stubborn guy running a rogue router. She had no idea she'd just committed a federal offense. The transmission equipment was registered under the Emergency Infrastructure Act. Tampering with it wasn't just stupid, it was criminal. So, I made a decision. I activated the lockdown. Within hours, every house in the HOA lost internet. Phones dropped to 1 bar. Smart assistants stopped responding. Security systems went mute. Even the HOA office couldn't access its own files. And in the middle of it all, Beverly, standing on her porch, waving her phone in the air like a broken wand. Neighbors flooded the community app. Why is my Wi-Fi out? My grandma's alert bracelet didn't go off. Who cut the line? And slowly, painfully, it dawned on them. This wasn't a glitch. This was fallout. And it had a name. Next day, I got a visit. Denise, HOA Finance Committee. Umbrella in one hand, apology in the other. She looked like she hadn't slept. Told me she didn't authorize the line cut. Said Beverly acted alone. And now the board was staring down a potential class action lawsuit, plus federal fines. Medical devices offline. Smart locks malfunctioning. One resident got locked out in the storm for 2 hours because her system rebooted mid-downpour. Then she asked the question I'd been waiting for. What do you want? I didn't say anything at first. Just pulled up my tablet, showed her a real-time outage map. Red squares everywhere. Explained that this wasn't just about Netflix, it was about infrastructure. Safety. Functionality. I laid out 3 conditions. 1. A full signed admission of liability from the HOA. 2. Beverly's immediate and permanent removal from any position of authority. 3. A binding agreement that no registered infrastructure, no matter how unsightly, could be touched without formal review by certified municipal personnel. Denise nodded. Said she'd take it to the board. She looked defeated. Honestly, I didn't feel triumphant. Just tired. Tired of people like Beverly thinking control is more important than understanding. That night, the board voted. The agreement was signed. And I began reactivating the grid node by node. But I left one small exception, a digital dead zone exactly the size of her house. She woke up to darkness. Again, and again the next day. Word spread that Beverly had cost the community over $200,000 in infrastructure upgrades after the city revoked our pilot program participation. HOA's insurance dropped them. Board members resigned. The fallout was total. Eventually, her house hit the market. Quiet sale. Quick close. The buyer? A trust linked to my infrastructure firm. I figured if I was going to rebuild trust in this place, might as well have a maintenance hub right at ground zero. The day she moved out, she never looked my way, not once. She just climbed into the passenger seat of an old SUV and disappeared. No apology. No goodbye. Just silence. And honestly, that's all I ever wanted from her. Today, the neighborhood's got new policies, a new board, and a new tech committee full of curious residents who actually want to learn how things work. They ask questions now. Why did this fail? What powers this system? Who's responsible? It's not fear anymore. It's understanding. Last week, I got a plaque in a box. It read, "In appreciation of services rendered beyond the call of community duty." I didn't laugh. I didn't roll my eyes. I just nodded and put it on a shelf. Because in the end, I didn't do this to be a hero. I did it to draw a line. You mess with the signal, we pull the plug. You respect the system, it protects you. That's the deal. And if you think that sounds harsh, well, maybe you've never had someone snip your lifeline because they didn't like how it looked from their second-story window. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was I right to respond the way I did? Or did I go too far? And more importantly, have you ever dealt with a Beverly? I'll be watching the thread. Literally. I'll be watching the thread. Literally. Because a few days after she left, something strange happened. I got a notification on my system routine maintenance ping from one of the older nodes I hadn't touched in weeks. I almost ignored it, thought it was just background noise until I saw the coordinates. Dead center of the dead zone. Beverly's old house. At first I thought it was just a glitch. Maybe someone new moved in and started fiddling with the wiring. But then another ping came through, this one encrypted. Someone was trying to tap the line. Nothing dangerous, just curious. I checked the feed. A kid maybe 12, 13 standing on the porch with a tablet, poking at a small antenna panel I had tucked into the gutter when I first installed the tower. He wasn't hacking. He wasn't being reckless, was learning. Experimenting. Doing exactly what I used to do at that age, back when I first took apart my parents' modem just to see how it breathed. It made me pause. For a minute, I hovered over the control panel ready to shut it down, preserve the silence, the punishment, the principle, but then I didn't. Instead, I opened a side channel, routed a low-bandwidth connection just strong enough to let him get a signal, and sent one simple message to the device. Curious is good. Just ask next time. And just like that, I closed the loop. Because as much as I wanted that house to stay dark forever, I realized something bigger. Punishment doesn't build trust. Fear doesn't build communities. But knowledge? That does. So now the grid runs stronger than ever. Every signal clean, every node secure, and every resident just a little more aware that what's invisible isn't unimportant and what's silent isn't powerless. I still walk past that house sometimes. The kid waves. I wave back. And somewhere, somehow, I hope Beverly is sitting under a flickering ceiling light in whatever HOA she landed in, still wondering how she lost the only war she started with a pair of scissors and a little sticker. So tell me, Hat, would you have done? Would you have pulled the plug? Held the line? Flipped the whole system? Or would you have let it go? Drop your thoughts below. Because in the end, it's not just about internet or HOA rules. It's about power. And who really knows how to use it? Thanks for listening. Stay connected. Stay informed. And whatever you do, never underestimate the quiet guy down the street. He might just own the tower,